so interested in the trash. Hello everyone, it is the 17th today of January and behind me I have all the trash for the last 2 weeks from the 1st to the 15th. Pretty good, it's going good. For some reason, I think I have less trash in the 2 first weeks of the month than the 2 last weeks of the month, like November, but I don't know why that is and why that happens. I was thinking of doing a plastic purge because there's certain things here that I just like, there's slowly plastic products that I'm running out of and then I have to like slowly throw them out, and it's just sort of like maybe not productive to the measuring thing, because I would like to just get all the one-time use plastic stuff out, the ones that I'm not going to use. Like, sweetie, you can't eat the plastic, it's really bad for you. For example, if I ever want to make my own makeup, then I can use those containers, so I'm not going to throw those out. But other one-time use stuff in my kitchen and stuff, I kind of want to just do like a plastic purge, and that's this episode. I think that's the title of the episode. So this is probably the first clip you've seen, and I've just been really bad at updating in the beginning of the month, and obviously like it's just more of like an everyday lifestyle. It's not something that I can vlog or update you on. Like, it just sort of comes, I guess, a bit naturally now. So let's weigh this stuff. We have, this is the rabbit's plastic, and I do realize that, okay, I don't know what I was talking about before, but this is all my trash, all the rabbit's trash. This is probably, as of right now, the biggest issue, but because of COVID and like living situation and transportation, like it's just, it will be difficult for me to get in contact with a farm and like, I don't know, weekly like pick up this like massive bale of hay. But you know, like maybe I should try anyways, you know, like I will maybe email something, see what happens, because it's quite a lot compared to like my other stuff. This is all my plastic of the month. Some hair color, old pasta I finished. This is all the miscellaneous that doesn't go anywhere. So the biggest great thing is that this should be nothing, obviously. And this is all my paper, not paper, but carton. Let's weigh it. 66 grams. 48 grams. And 109 grams. 532 grams. So in conclusion, I have 0.757 kilograms of trash for the 2 first months, which is like nothing. I mean, it's not nothing. This baby. I think I'm gonna tackle it next month, and then I'm gonna do the plastic purge this month so I can procrastinate it, because right now I don't have the energy to like travel to some far out farm. Maybe I can find someone who also goes into the city with a truck for other stuff. Gotta practice my problem solving skills, yo. So this is just a random clip that happens in this vlog because I had a revelation, right? I'm thinking a lot about what makes a person change their lifestyle, right? When it comes to, like, for example, wanting to do something for climate change. And I was thinking about the motivations and, for example, the changes that were made in society during like World War II or Corona. People say we're not able to change, but we're literally able to do it just like that when asked to. And I was thinking about a lot of people when they talk about climate change, they're like, yes, but the government has to do this, like they have the power, blah, 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 you know? And I meet a lot of people who feel powerless in the situation, which is, there's a lot of psychology behind, of course. But I was thinking about this thing where we think that the government has the power, right? So, okay, imagine the government makes the changes necessary for us to live a sustainable lifestyle. How is that going to affect your life? You'll have to start living zero waste. You'll have to start finding sustainable ways of transport. You'll have to source locally. You'll have to do all the things that, for example, I'm trying to do now. You'll have to live sustainably. And I'm like, for the life of me, I cannot understand why you need your government to tell you to do it for you to be able to do it. Like, that's going to be your lifestyle, whether you like it or not. So it's better to start now, take your time, adapt early, be part of the change. Because I'm listening to the book now. I just talked about it in my last episode, but what's it called? How are we going to explain this? Our future on a hot earth. And it's quite a hopeful book compared to a lot of other ones. It talks about how resourceful humans are and basically how far along we already are and the innovations that exist, and that we're probably going to make it. Probably we're going to see it as a crisis soon, and it's going to become so big, and he's like showing all these signs that this is already happening. And he's also talking about like all the changes that need to be made on the government level, but all those changes on the government level eventually affects your life. It changes the way you have to live completely. So like for the life of me, I cannot understand why you don't always, like, why people just don't make those changes already. Like, what is it about the all-powerful government that has so much power over people? Like, just make those decisions. Like, you can think for yourself, you know? That was harsh, but we went there. Editing Will here. I'm just here to say that I know why this is. It's because collective change is much easier than individual change. I think it's that simple. Hello, this is the toothbrushing episode, and I'm going to bed soon. This is my toilet. So today we're trying something new, something fun. I feel like it, because it's my birthday today. In this little jar, I have these tablets that you can buy with weight at the Zero Waste store. So they look like this, and what you do is that you basically chew them. You can get them with flour or without flour. I got the ones without. And so you chew them, and then you brush your teeth. And now I'm gonna film myself brushing my teeth for the sake of this video. And I'll watch Kipo at the same time. Oh boy. It tastes like toothpaste. Very strong. Oh boy. Woo. I'm not sure if I like that one. It's weird because I've been using this other toothpaste that I'm soon done with. It looks like this. Right now it's a bit rougher on the edges, but it's called G Organics, and it's a natural toothpaste with mineral rich. This one that I have is activated charcoal, which I think tastes really good, and it's almost like brushing your teeth with mud. And I know that's weird. I grew up with a mother that's very like conscious about, you know, like what you brush your teeth with and everything. And I had this like yellow toothpaste that came in this metal tube when I grew up, and all the other kids like thought my teeth would go yellow and like thought it was so gross. But like the thing that makes it your toothpaste like foam in your mouth is really not good for you. And we have discussions about flour too, but I'm not gonna do that here obviously. But I actually really like this one, and it does feel like you're brushing your teeth with mud, and sometimes there's like crunchy parts. I don't mind that at all, and afterwards like my teeth feel super smooth and stuff. And they always feel very clean. It doesn't really taste like anything. It just tastes like a slight sandy taste, like activated charcoal if you've tried it before. And I really like that one. This is what it looks like. It's soon done. So this one is definitely the cheapest option so far. I will try baking soda too, because every time I hear someone going zero waste, I always hear that they use baking soda, which is obviously the cheapest option, but this is otherwise the cheapest option. I bought a lot, so obviously I have to use these. They kind of turn into powder in your mouth, and the taste does taste more like minty fresh afterwards compared to that one. So it tastes more like regular toothpaste, but it's sort of like sweet, which is not something I feel like makes me feel clean in my mouth. And it also feels very smooth, especially after I've had the other one. So I will definitely finish this obviously, but I'm not sure I will continue with it. The good thing is that it's you're just filling up the box, you know, like there's no packaging. That one comes in the package that I just showed you, but it's glass, so obviously you can use it for other stuff, and it's like a neat little container like this one. And yeah, they last for a very long time. Like I've used this one for maybe 4 months now, which is like, you know, a lengthy period of time. So they're quite worth the money, you know? But yeah, check in with you guys later. all this trash. So update on the mayo. It's good. It's a bit liquid. And it's supposed to be in the fridge for 3 days, so that's probably why. But honestly, it's still just as delicious. I recommend making your own mayo. And I think for the next time, I'm gonna try to use an oil that's not so strong. Because now I'm using like Portuguese olive oil, I believe. And it tastes like a lot like olive oil. And I'm not a huge fan of olive oil, but the zero waste store, I think that's the only one they have. So I recommend like an olive oil that's a bit, or an oil that's a bit or more neutral. But honestly, it's still just as delicious. I did add some flakes, like chili flakes. I think I should have added more if I like wanted more chili. But yeah, it's really good with the sweet potato, even when it's cold. So hi all you climate change activists and people watching this video. I'm going to like dissect some parts of this book because I found it incredibly powerful, and it's part of like the reason why I want to make this video. And it talks about like the confliction between why we care so much about climate change yet we do nothing about it, and Jonathan Safran Foer kind of works through his feelings about this and keeps asking himself like, why am I not doing more? Why am I not doing more if I care so much? And if that's something you're struggling with, I definitely highly recommend reading this book. It was fantastic. It's a chaotic mess, but I loved every second of it. So there's some quotes and parts that I want to read to you. So I know reading out loud passages isn't extremely fun, but like these are just so powerful, and I would like to transfer the information. Climate change is not a jigsaw puzzle on the coffee table, which can be returned to when the schedule allows and the feelings inspires. It is a house on fire. So that's more of like a common one. But then this one is like something that is like the reason why I'm making this video, and also really applies to what I'm trying to do here. The richest 10% of the global population is responsible for half of the carbon emissions. The poorest half is responsible for 10%, and those who are the least responsible for global warming are often the ones more punished by it. Considering Bangladesh, the country widely considered to be the most vulnerable to climate change. As estimated, 6 million Bangladeshis have already been displaced by environmental disasters like storms, surges, tropical cyclones, droughts, and flooding, with millions more projected to become displaced in the coming years. Anticipated sea level rises could submerge about 1/3 of the country, uprooting 25 to 30 million people. Bangladesh has one of the smallest carbon footprints in the world, meaning it is the least accountable for the damage that most afflicts it. The average Bangladeshi is responsible for 0.29 metric tons of CO2 equivalent emissions per year, which is the average Finn is responsible for about 38 times that, 11.15 metric tons. Bangladesh happens to be one of the world's most vegetarian countries, where the average person consumes about 9 pounds of meat per year. In 2018, the average Finn happily consumed that amount every 18 days, and that doesn't include seafood. Millions of Bangladeshis are paying for resource-opulent lifestyles that they have never themselves enjoyed. Imagine if you never touched a cigarette in your life, but were forced to absorb the health tolls of a chain smoker on the other side of the planet. Imagine if the smoker remained healthy and at the top of happiness chart, smoking more cigarettes with each passing year, satisfying his addiction while you suffered lung cancer. So I found that like a really powerful thing to think that we won't give up our... So if you're watching this video, you probably belong to the 10% or somewhere like close to that, and not the half poorest of the population, but just imagining that I can live my life perfectly for so long, and knowing that someone else suffers the consequences, just like I will smoke and someone else is the one that's suffering the consequences of that and dealing with cancer because of my actions. That is like something I would never be able to live with. But if you don't make changes to your life, that is the reality you're afflicting and the reality you accept living with. And I found that very powerful to read. And this passage talks basically about the power of the individual. So obviously this book centers around that a lot, but I found this passage in particular a great sum of his thoughts and something that I found really inspiring. Both macro and micro actions have power, and when it comes to mitigating our planetary destruction, it is unethical to dismiss either or to proclaim that because the large cannot be achieved, the small should not be attempted. We need structural change, yes. We need a global shift away from fossil fuels and towards renewable energy. We need to enforce something akin to carbon tax, mandate environmental impact labels for products, replace plastic with sustainable solutions, and build walkable cities. We need structures to nudge us towards choices we already want to make. We need to ethically address the West's relationship to the global South. We might even need a political revolution. These changes will require shifts that individuals alone cannot realize, but putting aside the fact that collective revolutions are made up of individuals, led by individuals, and reinforced by thousands of individuals' revolutions, we would have no chance of achieving our goal of limiting environmental destruction if individuals don't make the very individual decision to eat differently. Of course, it's true that 1% deciding to eat a plant-based diet will not change the world, but of course it's true that the sum of millions of such decisions will. And then of course there's many parts to this. We are killing ourselves because choosing death is more convenient than choosing life. Because the belief that someday, somewhere, some genius is about to invent a miracle technology that will change our world so that we don't have to change our lives. Because short-term pleasure is more seductive than long-term survival. Because no one wants to exercise their capacity for intentional behavior until someone else does. I am that someone else, so now you can do it. This is also about the individual power. In order to contribute to the creation of the world rather than its destruction, an individual must act on behalf of the collective. Humankind takes leaps when individual takes steps. That was sort of like a reference to the landing on the moon, which was a similar quote. So this is also very, very interesting. He refers to basically a study by Nicholas A. Christakis and James H. Fowler, who basically have researched how, for example, obesity is contagious, and they noticed that, like, for example, a person who's vegetarian basically has up to 3, like, your friends' circles of a majority that are vegetarian, and the same goes for obesity. People who are obese are more likely to have friends who are obese, and I think that's a very matter-of-fact way of looking at the fact that you don't have power. If you change your life, the people around you are going to start thinking about it and change their behavior, and then their friends are again going to do it, and then their friends are going to do it, and this happens with communities energetically and all that. And I know, like, for a fact, I've at least made my parents think about it, and I've made my friends eat zero waste meal with us. So here's a quote from those researchers. We discovered that if your friend's friend gained weight, you gained weight. We discovered that if your friends stopped smoking, you stopped smoking. And we discovered that if your friends became happy, you became happy. So there's just like filled with amazing quote. I highlighted so much, and I highly recommend reading more of these because there's a million great quotes, and some speak to you that maybe don't speak to me, and some speak to me that don't speak to you. So I just really recommend reading this because I feel like it's very relevant to what I'm trying to do here, and also why I'm documenting this, because I want to spread a conversation. I want to make people think, and even if like this journey doesn't go perfectly, you have to like attempt and try, because there's like ripples in the water, you know? So that's it. That's what I was gonna talk about in this 10-minute clip. Enjoy your day. So I went to the cafe today. I didn't have any food at home. I thought I was gonna treat myself. So I brought this wrapper, right? You just like open it in here, and then there's like plastic inside, and you can have like food in here, sandwiches and stuff. And I was so proud of myself, and I'm like, hey, sometimes it takes courage. Sometimes on these days where I'm struggling a bit, it like takes courage to say like, I don't want what you're giving me. I want it in this wrapper instead. And they're like looking at each other confused, like the boy and girl working there, and they're like scoff at each other and like, sure, like this weirdo, who do they think they are, like what is this craziness? And then they give me this instead, and like just put it on top of this, like they just shove it over, like here is your sandwich. And I'm like, what do you think I was asking for? Like, this is not a fucking napkin. Like, sometimes I get frustrated by how condescending people can be about just, I'm so angry. So I obviously bought some bookshelves this month because no secondhand stores and stuff were open. In this case, I did choose convenience over, you know, beliefs in environmental factors and stuff. But I just wanted to tell you that there's a lot of boxes that came with that. And I have used some of the boxes for the fence for the rabbits. And I think I posted that video already. And I know it's like counterintuitive to say like I bought this trash, but I'm not going to throw it away. But I still want to mention it, because it technically is my trash and I paid for it to be produced, but I'm not gonna throw it away. So I just want to say that. I'll show you my hallway. It's a mess. So it's this big box there, and then it's this huge mess here. So this white stuff I'm definitely gonna throw away. I think I can throw it with plastic. Those are my book boxes. But yeah, I'm gonna save this one, the one that's under here, and that one. Just wanted to show you this because I'll talk about it in a minute. Oh boy. Ooh boy. Alright friends, let's chat. Wait, wait, can you see the trash? Can you see the horrific trash there is here? How appropriate. Eating animals just fell down from the shelf. Yeah, it's recording. I have stuff to talk about. I'm gonna get a bit sweaty, a bit nervous, cause here's the reality. Okay, as you can see here, there's a lot of trash. I think what happened, psychologically, what happens is that the first 2 weeks I do so well that I end up being like, oh, I did so well, so now I can mess up loads of times, because when it evens out, I actually did quite well, or like, I achieved my goal, so I can slack off now. There is no goal. It's just a lifestyle. You have to continue doing it, and it's habits, and it's a constant struggle. So the thing is, like, you know, how, like, if you're doing this, the only person who gets to see all your flaws and your shortcomings is you. Maybe your family, maybe your partner, maybe your children, I don't know. But when I do this, and because I'm sharing it on the internet, you all get to see all my shortcomings and all my flaws, and I'm like very open about every time I mess up, because I want to live in a world where we talk about our mistakes. I want to live in a world where messing up is not failure or actually messing up at all. It's just part of the progress. So every time I make a mistake, whether it's like in whatever like forum it is, I'm very open. As you can see, the cage is open, or the pen is open. You know, we don't keep bunnies in pens here, or cages. It's just, the reality is, like, I'm more scared of putting this on the internet than the impending realization that I failed in a way. And I didn't fail. It's part of the process. I like to think about it like this. Okay, I've spent, what is it? Oh my god, it's 22 years. Damn. I've spent 22 years not consciously doing a lot towards climate change. Let's say I reached my goal of becoming 101. which means I've lived through 3 centuries, which is awesome. That would be great. I reached my goal of becoming 101. That means that in those 101 years, I spent 22 years doing nothing, more or less, and I spent 1 year trying to do my best, creating new habits. Then in like that, the rest of the math, I don't do math, the rest of my life I spend with good habits. That's a lot. 1 year is nothing compared to everything else I'm gonna do. So that's why I'm doing this like thing for at least this series for at least 1 year, because I'm giving myself 1 year to change my habits completely. So if on the 3rd month this is what happens, it's okay. It's okay. 3 months, this much percentage of my whole life. Water, coffee, sunlight. Okay, let's chat. I bought bookshelves this month. That's why there is so much trash. I bought loads of books. I think sometimes I have these like almost psychotic episodes where I get so obsessed with something. Like, my mind is weird as hell and I don't know what happens to it. And it's not an excuse, it's just an explanation. Sometimes I get really obsessed with completing stuff. And I think my life would be so much easier if, 1, my bookstores were open, 2, secondhand stores were open. Because right now, everything is closed in Denmark. Like, everything. And I think I would be able to buy the shelves in secondhand. I could go to the bookstores and I could order through them. But it's so COVID is making this so much harder than it has to be. I want to say that it's so much harder than it has to be, because when I went to school, the zero waste store is right next to my school. I got in a really good habit of just going there after school, picking up some stuff and going home. But now that I spend all my time at home, I have to go all the way on the other side of town to pick it up, which doesn't make any sense because I go to school on the other side of town every day anyways. But now that it's just for like this, it's different, you know? But that makes it much harder. It makes it much harder to find secondhand stuff. Like, in hindsight, I could have just, you know, gone on like, what's it called, you know, like Facebook Marketplace, whatever it's called, or like looked at those kind of things. But I don't have a car. I can't just drive somewhere and pick stuff up, you know? Like, COVID is making this so much harder. Like, it really is. And I think by now this would have gone so much better if COVID wasn't a thing. The COVID situation is definitely making me pay much more attention to consumerist habits, or my capitalist lifestyle. It's just okay. What happens is that, should I explain this? If COVID didn't exist, I would still buy this stuff, but I would buy it more ethically. But because of COVID, I'm having to confront all my buying habits because it directly affects this video and what I'm trying to do here. So it's becoming a much more confrontal situation than if like Corona didn't exist, which is a good thing. It's a bit harder, it's a bit tougher, but I think in the end it's gonna be a good thing. So let's get into actually weighing this shit. A lot of trash this month. I'm not gonna discuss everything because you know the drill by now. Okay, my total trash for the last 2 weeks is 5 kilos and 281 grams, 0.5 kilos more than last month. But considering I have this huge cardboard box and I bought loads of books and my plastic is like significantly more, I think I did pretty good. I mean, it also has to do with like the fact that I did really well in the first 2 weeks. But I think I'm gonna, maybe next month, I am not gonna do my half-month checkup, and I'm only gonna check up at the end of the month. And I think this is gonna do 2 things. 1, I won't feel accomplished after 2 weeks. 2, I think that if I only go out with my trash once a month, I can think about how much trash do I want to have in my apartment for a month, you know? Like, if I only go out once, then my trash is just gonna be collecting. And like, how much am I willing to store for a month, you know? So that's the update. It's a trash update. So just wanted to give a shout out. I found this person that it's actually a Danish person, and they do like this zero waste and vegan lifestyle channel, and it's called Glittermary. It looks like this. Yeah. So they do like a lot of just recycle stuff, information stuff. So I highly recommend following them, and they do like reels and also recycling and updates, and everything's in English. So if you're interested in that, do that. I mean, I'm finding more and more people who do like what I do, but just so many times better. But I think Lena Norms mentioned this in her last video, saying that like all voices are important, and you know, like not every one of you guys are gonna watch other people, maybe you just watch me. So obviously all our voices and messages are important to spread the world. So it's officially February, but I wanted to include this in the January zero waste vlog because I have a lot of styrofoam trash, and so I was looking up like where to throw away styrofoam, like that kind of thing. When I looked at websites from the US, it said that one, styrofoam is actually very good to sell because it's light, but it takes a lot of space, so it's like hard to transport, and it isn't great for the environment, so it's really good to sell it. And in Sweden you sort it with the plastic, so I didn't know where to put it in Denmark, and I found this website on, I can show you, Copenhagen government commune, I don't know what you say, government website, where it's called Trash ABC, and there's a search button and you can write in whatever material that you want to throw away, and it's gonna tell you exactly where to throw it away in the trash, which is amazing. So if you ever doubt it, for example, I can say printer ink. So printer ink is going in the dangerous trash, and I colored my hair, which was very bad for the environment, with the bleach. I can't like wash it out and then throw away that's just bad, I feel like. Here it also says it's going in dangerous trash, and it also says do not empty it. And I mean, bleach is not good for the environment, but I did put it in my hair, and then I did wash it out in the wash. So maybe the lesson is to not color and bleach my hair ever, because like I don't know how many fish that, I don't know, how do they clean the water? Do they, I'm gonna want to look into that. But yeah, styrofoam, Denmark, goes into the general trash. Why is my lamp always so crooked? This is going to be the last like video that I shoot for the zero waste month of January. I'm not gonna lie, I really struggled last couple of months because I haven't been feeling well. Like, not at all. You know, like how you have to put your own mask on when you're on the airplane before helping anyone else's? It's like that right now. So, next episode is going to be about how I found ways to find a support system where it doesn't rely on buying stuff, eating good food, or it doesn't rely on outside sources, and trying to find self-care that doesn't have anything to do with my surroundings, or how do I explain it? I think when we talk about self-care, we talk about like doing face masks and like watching your favorite TV shows, or like going on a shopping spree, and like those things are rewarding. I realize like how much I depend on those things for my self-care and how much they're work against my values. So what happens is that ultimately they're a start of a spiral that I've noticed I get myself into, where I get really sad and I fall back on habits of like buying stuff, of like making my home decorated because it makes me feel safe and home, and how I need comfort food, and I need like children's show, and like all these things. Children's shows are fine, I can keep that, those make me happy unconditionally. But for example, eating junk food and buying stuff that I don't need, it starts a cycle where every time I do it, I hate myself a little bit more for doing it. And obviously I just generally need to practice self-compassion, but I think the issue is also that I shouldn't have those systems to fall back on, because one, they don't really do much for me in the long run, and they feed into like this capitalist system that I don't agree with and I don't want to live in, I don't want to participate in. And so it like makes me feel much worse, and it makes me continue doing it much more. And so I need to find systems where I can rely on, I don't know, other stuff. Like, I don't know, this sounds strange, like it sounds typical and like stereotypical, but like, you know, like yoga, meditation, happy places, and children's shows and comics are like one way for me to do that, and reading and stuff. But I want to find some safer place within myself where I feel like I don't need that validation from the outside. And obviously that's like a lifelong journey for some people, but I want to focus on that in the next month. So yeah, it's been a bit difficult, and I got really hard on myself about buying the bookshelves and making that video because I just don't agree with people doing like hauls for any reason. I wanted to make a whole video about it, but I just felt too hypocritical to like talk about it because I do sometimes share on Instagram and in my stories that books I buy and stuff, but essentially I just don't see what's the point. And I don't see what a book haul or any sort of haul accomplishes. You can talk about those books in another way, and I just don't see the point, and I feel like they can only have a negative impact. But maybe that's a very also like cynical point of view, but I'm just really trying to start with myself and not feed into those patterns in myself and in the world. Yeah, it's been really tough this month. I feel like there was a lot of stuff I was going to talk about. I really want to try out brushing my teeth with baking powder and coconut oil, but I have so much toothpaste now that I don't want to make any more, and honestly, tooth pills, I feel a bit like exhausted. Shall we talk about the trash? I filmed the trash update. Turns out, boy was I wrong, there was more trash just lying around. My apartment's a mess, and it makes me feel really shit inside. So I just keep finding trash everywhere. My total trash for this month is 7 kilos and 322 grams. So that is this percentage of the first month, November, but it's this percentage of last month. So it's not good, but it's still better than doing nothing. Which is a bit shocking, honestly, that I bought, 5 bookshelves? And that's a ton of trash, and I still am a way less than when I live normally and eat normally. And yeah, something else I stumbled upon is the fact that rabbit waste, like from their toilets and stuff, cannot go into the biodegradable waste, and only food goes there, which is like, what? That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, maybe it's a bit harder to break down, but it's still like, it's just grass and wood and it's all biodegradable. So now I have been throwing it first off in the wrong trash, and I should actually be counting it as my like regular daily trash, which is just first off like really stresses me out because I'm not gonna do that because my numbers in this whole video is gonna be skewed. But also that makes me have to think about getting a compost. When I live in an apartment, there's a backyard, but then I have to ask the apartment complex if I'm allowed to have a compost in the yard, and it just opens like a whole can of worms, literally, to like this whole situation. So, but I think next episode I'm not really gonna do much. I'm just really gonna focus on self-care. Like, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of my zero waste journey. I really appreciate you sticking with me, following me, watching, and if you have some tips on how to like emotionally deal with climate change and stuff like that when other stuff in your life is not going so great, and like how to find that balance. I know that's a complicated question, but if you have any advice for me, please leave them down below. Yeah, sending you guys so much love. Stay in love. Don't get pulled in by the fear. And I'll talk to you guys soon.